boys and girls, I'm Dr. Trina Harlow, and I'm from the University of Central Arkansas here in Conway. I'm brand new to Conway. I just moved here this summer, and I'm teaching art education courses at the university. So if someday you want to be an art teacher, you can take my classes and learn how to do that. I love birds. I always have. Since I was a little girl growing up in western Kansas, we had huge trees out in our yard, really big trees with thousands and thousands of birds in them. And I used to love to lay in the grass and watch the birds fly and look at all the different kinds of birds. And so today I'm going to show you how to make a really cool finger puppet. This isn't just any finger puppet. This is a bird finger puppet. Here's one of them flying by now. See it? We're going to make this really cool, colorful bird puppet. You can make this bird however you want. This is your bird. You can use lots of colors, like I did on this one, or you can use a couple of colors, or maybe you want to use more natural colors, like blues or browns, colors of birds you see in nature, your favorite bird. But we're going to make these finger puppets, and I'm going to show you how. You can make your own aviary of birds. An aviary is where birds live. Okay, boys and girls, first I'd like to go over the supplies we're going to use with you today. First of all, I'm using mixed media paper, but you could use just normal printer paper for this. I buy this at the local discount store or hobby store. It's a little thicker than printer paper and I like how it feels. I'm using scissors. I'm using water-based markers in lots of colors, just the normal kinds of markers that you often use. And that's all I need to make this origami puppet bird, finger puppet bird. So as a reminder, this is what we're making, and I'm going to show you the steps now. This is just a piece of 9 by 12 inch paper, but we need it to be a square. Origami paper is always a square, and you couldn't use regular origami paper for this if you want to. But I'm going to make this into a square. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to fold this corner up to this edge and crease it. And I'll do that right now. I know there's a bit of a glare on this white paper, but I'll show you how. So you can see now, I folded the corner up to this corner. I pulled it up to this edge, and now I have what will almost be a square, but now I need to trim this piece off. So using my scissors, I'm going to cut right along that folded line, nice and straight. The straighter your edges and the straighter your folds, the more clean the folds on your origami bird will be. So now I have a square piece of paper that looks like this. When folded, it's a triangle. So the first step was making our paper into a square, and by doing that, we already gave us our first fold, which is this line that makes it a triangle. Now what we're going to do is we're going to open it up. And see this line, this folded line coming up the middle, right there in the middle of our fold? We're going to fold this end down to the line, and we're going to fold this end down to the line, and it gives us something that looks a little bit like a kite. And I'm going to do that now. So it's important to bring this edge right over to that line, and then the rest of it will be straight. So I'm going to bring this one over now, and as long as I have it right on the fold, the rest of it will fold straight too. And I end up with this. Basically, my square folded in to be a kite. Now the next step is easy. We're just going to fold this in. That's all we're doing. Here's our kite. We're going to fold it in like this. And now I'm going to lay it down, And I'm going to run my thumb over those creases because I want those creases to be nice and creased. So this is probably the hardest step, but it's not hard if you listen and do it along with me. So I've turned this so that the straight edge is up at the top. This is the straight edge. I have it laying at the top, and I have this angular line laying towards the bottom. Now I'm going to take this tiny little point over here, and I'm going to bring it to this point. Now I'm going to hold it down tight with my finger. I'm not folding it. I just want to figure out where the middle is, so I'm going to make a tiny little crease right there. Okay, let me do it closer to the camera for you. So I'm going to take on my straight edge, going to take this point, bring it to this point, and all I'm doing is trying to mark the middle of the long edge. Okay? Okay, so now I can see where the middle of the long edge is. I want to turn it now in front of me so that the short angular line is over here and the long angular line is on my left side. So I'm going to lay it down with the long edge up at the top, and now I can see where I folded, made that little mark that was halfway on the long edge, the long straight edge. Now, this is the hardest part, but it's really not hard. I want to make a fold. Here's where I folded it in half, and here's this point on the short corner. Do you see how I marked those? Here was where I folded it in half, and I made a little black dot down here on the corner on where the angular lines meet, so that you can see I'm going to fold the short side, the line with the short side. I'm going to fold it in half as if there was an imaginary line from that mark I made in the middle of the long side down to this point. I'm literally going to fold it in half on an imaginary line, but you can make a dotted line for your fold if you'd like. And make sure you fold it right to the point, because that's what's going to give us a nice beak. Now we end up with a shape like this. Now the next part's really pretty easy. We're going to take this long piece hanging down here, and we're just going to literally fold it up along, see this line right here? And this hangs down over it. We're just going to fold this up like that. Okay, we're going to crease it really good. And that gives us another little point sticking up, and we're going to fold that down now. Now that gives us a tiny little edge sticking out here, and we're just going to tuck that under the fold, and we end up with something like this. This is our bird. Now we can stick our finger up inside of that, and we have our bird. I think let's review real quickly. And you can also rewind the video if you'd like. So we started out with a square, and I think just to make sure this is a little easier for you to view, I'm going to draw a black line along these four edges. This is just for the purposes of this video. You don't have to do this. So here was our first triangle. We folded this first triangle. Then we opened it up and we just made a fold like this, creating a kite basically. And then all we did was fold that in half. And we end up with this shape. It almost looks like a bird already. But the really cool thing is we're going to turn it into a bird that we can wear on our finger as a finger puppet. Okay, now remember, the next step is you're going to take this corner, doesn't matter which way it's lying, you're going to take this corner, the little corner, and you're going to fold it in half over to the other corner. I'm doing it on this long edge. Fold it over, make a little pinch so you know where the middle of that long edge is, open it up. I made a little dot on that fold, and then I made a dot down here to the point, and I drew a dotted line so you could see that the next step is we're going to take this shorter line and we're going to fold it from the middle dot to the point, just like that. And then on the back side, you see this piece hanging down. We're going to fold it up just like that. Then we're going to fold this down just like that, and that leaves us with this little point sticking out right here, and we're just tucking that in the fold. And we now have our finger puppet bird. But now comes the fun part. Now we're going to color our bird. And as you can see, I made lots of colored dots, and the beak and the eye and a wing on this one. I also did that on this one. I made colored stripes, an eye with eyelashes, and a black wing. And then on this one, I made a big colored wing, an eye, and colored the beak. Now this is where we can get very creative, and you can do whatever it is you want to do. So because some beaks I like to make yellow, this one I made purple. I think I'm going to make this beak be striped. Why not? I can do that because I'm an artist. And artists have a lot of creative choice. We can do what we want. So I'm going to draw some orange stripes. The first thing I'm going to do is make my beak. While I color my beak in, I do want to ask you boys and girls if you know what you call a person who studies birds. Think for just a minute. Do you know what you call a person that studies birds? Well, I'll tell you. You call them an ornithologist. Repeat after me. I'll say a little bit and then you say it. Orno. Now you say it. Orno. Thalo. Now you say it. Thalo. Gist. Ornithologist. Ornithologist. That's a person who studies birds. Now I'm going to draw an eye, and you can do your eye however you want. You could make it big, you could make it over here, but I think I'm going to do one different than the other one. So I'm drawing a big eye right up next to my fold, and I'm going to make a little black circle inside it and another black ring, and now I have my eye. And so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to color the body. But first I think, I want a big wing on this one. So I think I'm going to make a big wing, and you can do your wings however you want because you're the artist. And this is not realism, where we're trying to make this look exactly like a bird. This is a contemporary design of my choice. I have a lot of freedom to be imaginative and think of, if I could design a bird, what would that bird look like? I'm going to draw a mouth like this. Do you see how I drew the mouth? And we're not trying to be perfect. We're just trying to be fun and make a finger puppet bird. All right, boys and girls, here's our finger puppet. Have fun making yours. And if you make a bunch of them like this, you can go outside with your friends and fly them around your yard. So enjoy making your finger puppets. Thanks for participating in this finger puppet bird video today. Bye-bye, boys and girls.